Hey friends, good afternoon. 5 p.m. here in New York City, March 22. Beautiful afternoon, and we're standing in Central Park at the moment, overlooking Central Park South. Beautiful skyline, Midtown, Manhattan. But we are just cutting through Central Park at the moment, heading to the west side. Head over to the waterfront. Let's see if we can chase tonight's sunset. I see Arjan in the chat. Good to see you. Just entering now the Arthur Ross Pine Tum. This is where the pine trees sit. Beautiful over here. I always tell you guys some epic pine cones. Huge. And it smells wonderful. I see Mika. Good to see everybody. I think we started a couple minutes early, so let folks gather. We were just here yesterday with our kiddo for a walk. And as he does, he slept the entire time. It was wonderful. Puts him right out. We even got a chance to sit on one of these benches for a while, and he stayed asleep. I see George. I see Nabul. Everybody go follow our friend Nabul, a wonderful live streamer from the south of France. Totally beautiful. Serious vacation goals. If you're just joining, we are in Central Park, but we're just about to leave Central Park. We're cutting through. We're going to head west to the Hudson River and go chase the sunset. I never know for sure if it's going to be a good sunset, but New York's had some really nice ones recently. There's the Twin Towers of the El Dorado, which overlooks the Jackie Kennedy Onassis Reservoir. This part of Central Park, by the way, is where Seneca Village used to sit. And we'll do some streams from Central Park soon. The spring flowers are really starting to come in. So we're going to head west. We're coming up to Central Park West and some of my favorite buildings over here. The last remaining private residences, these little townhouses at the corner here. I love it. Hope everybody's having a good day. Thanks for joining us. Aren't these really wonderful looking? Imagine owning a incredible. ABX, good to see you. George, we're doing well. How are you doing? Does anybody remember the Instagram account Husky on the Porch? My wife, Lisa, would always point it out when we walked this way. Beautiful husky sitting outside one of the townhouses over here. But they moved. Deming, good to see you. Sounds pretty good, Nabul, right? So we're on the Upper West Side now. We've left beautiful Central Park. We've entered the beautiful Upper West Side. This is West 85th Street. The architecture, just wonderful. Oh, there's a dog on a porch. If anybody wants to do me a favor, hit exclamation point weather in the chat so I can see. It feels really nice out. I think it hit 60 or 61 degrees today. It's probably a few degrees cooler than that, but it's really nice. Sal, good to see you. I think, Sal, you might have seen us at the St. Patrick's stream you were on, but I went to say hello to a few of our fellow New York City streaming buddies, and I saw you in one of the chats. I forget which one though. Noble Sweetness, good to see you. British Grey, hey, thanks everybody for joining. 2 videos in one day today. This morning I posted a little bit of the East Village. That one was not live, it was a recorded walk. So if you want to see a little bit of the East Village, check that out. And I have another recording coming sometime soon. Before I did the East Village, I walked a couple hours along 5th Avenue. Finally had the time to do that. Haven't gotten to do that in a little bit. So stay tuned for that. It's taking a while for YouTube to process it because I went to Rockefeller Center and there was all sorts of music playing, and I have to wait to see how YouTube judges the copyright issues. Adam, good to see you. A surprise? Well, we're going to pass through Columbus and Amsterdam. We're going to head to the Hudson River. I'm in need of a little bit of nature, the water, hopefully a nice sunset if we can all cross our fingers. It's been a minute since we've done one of these, and I don't know if anybody's in New York has been looking out their window. And today, it's kind of like a sort of cloudy. It's like pretty cloudy for an interesting sunset. So we'll find out. Carol, good to see you. Apologies if I've missed your chat. Hello, welcome, thanks for being with us. Got some construction noise momentarily. Brenda's here, good to see you. Good evening, one and all. So the more specific plan, I checked and sunset is at 7:10 p.m. So we will walk to the Hudson and we will walk south as far as we can until sunset, and that should give me enough time to get home. I got to get back for my beautiful wife Lisa. She has an appointment, but 7:10 should give me plenty of time to do that. So that is our plan tonight, folks. Hopefully it will be fun. Hopefully we'll get some good sights along the way. And as always, it's good to have everybody hanging on out. Leave a like, tell a friend. Oh, let's go over to 86 for a second and see the Bell Nord. I think it was yesterday. It was either yesterday or Monday. Anybody knows the TV show Only Murders in the Building? It's set in the Bell Nord, although they call it the Arconia. And they were doing a ton of filming. Martin Short, Steve Martin were out. I wish I could have been there for it. But as usual, filming is a very long process, and the hours that they had for the filming was 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. And some of the clips I saw later that people had taken were like 3-second clips, so you could stand there for 11 hours to get a 3-second really interesting clip, unless you got really lucky. But there's the beautiful Bell Nord. I have a friend who's a real estate agent who got to go in recently. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. Brian Bell, good to see you. Adam says, I was pleasantly surprised to see Meryl Streep. I told you guys our Meryl Streep story. She's a wonderful actress, obviously. And we've seen her a few times at this poetry event at Lincoln Center. My wife loves poetry. She's also a poet herself. And oftentimes Meryl Streep was one of the presenters. So basically they would have a bunch of fancy pants folks, different folks from culture, so they could, chefs, like all sorts of folks, but just famous people reading poetry to raise money for, I believe, the Academy of American Poets, although Lisa will correct me if I got that wrong. And we would go to dinner afterwards at a place called Cafe Fiorello, one of our favorite Italian spots. They make a nice martini and excellent food. So we went to Lincoln Center, went to the poetry event, and then we got our table afterwards, and the waiter was telling us that Meryl Streep, and who was it? Who was the other person? It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyways, Meryl Streep and another actress tried to get in. They didn't have a reservation, and I said, we are more than happy to have them sit at our table, but they were already gone. Who? Claire Danes, I think. I think it was Claire Danes. Rolo, good to see you. Apologies if there's a little bit of buffering. We'll keep moving and we'll get through it quickly. Nobody coming. Nobody coming for a while.
Where are you going?
West 86th now, making our way over to the Hudson so we can have a nice, pleasant sunset walk along the river. Adam knew the answer. I guess we've told that story before. Ambrose, thank you. Good to see you. It's actually, I definitely dressed too warmly. I thought it might get cool by the water as the sun goes down, but at the moment I am currently too hot. Check out this building, 345 West 86th Street. If only I had a spare 20 million lying around.
Charlie?
That's so funny. That woman was calling for a kid, I think. And when I got around the car, nowhere to be found. Oh, parenting. It's fun. Oh yeah. I feel pretty good about our sunset chances tonight. I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good. Ambrose. One day I'll figure it all out. Summer streets, that was brutal. I'm still amazed the camera survived. If you guys do watch the East Village video I posted, and I said I have a Fifth Avenue video coming. Been playing around with a different camera for those. The DJI Action 3. Been using a GoPro for a lot of things, but one thing the GoPro is not very good at is if you really push the camera, meaning high frame rates and other features, that's when you start to get into the where it starts to overheat. And supposedly the DJI is more resilient to that, so we'll find out. Let me know what you think. All right, let's head into Riverside Park as we make our way down to the waterfront. Cool aunt, Lisa, good to see everybody. Hope everybody's having a pleasant evening. So we were here not too long ago, Riverside Park, on I think it was a Sunday stream. This is a beautiful, beautiful park. And before we know it, it will start to turn incredibly colorful for spring. Looks like it's not quite there yet, but that transformation will start to happen. This, by the way, kind of somber. This is the Warsaw Ghetto Monument. All right, I think we just jumped towers, so it should be coming back. We should be back now. I don't know what you heard, but I was saying I was just so disappointed by how little snow we had this year. But we should be back. Mika asks, is this the park where they filmed You've Got Mail? Oh, I don't know the answer. I've been meaning to watch You've Got Mail. Catch up on some New York movies that I haven't watched in a long time. I don't know the answer to that. If any of our experts know the answer, let us know. Leela's here. Good to see you. Looks like we lost about 20 people with that little buffer. Kind of funny. Gonna struggle if you can't handle a 10-second buffer in a 2-hour live stream. This may not be the content for you. All right, folks, let me show you what the sun situation is at the moment. This is where we usually buffer. We're coming up to the boat basin where they're doing some construction, which is why there's currently no boats at the boat basin. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood, my friends. But yeah, the sky's looking pretty. I'm feeling good about our chances for some interesting color. And as per my phone, sunset tonight, 7:10 p.m. Jazz Ladyfy. Coolant confirms You've Got Mail filmed in Riverside Park. Huh? Yeah, like I said, I need to catch up on that. Catch up on the whole Meg Ryan cinematic universe. We've had some really good ones lately. And I haven't been able to run out. So tonight is the night, folks. I think a NYP. Though I assume if they wanted us to get out of the way, they would say something. I will not be jumping in front of the bikes. There we go. Weather conditions for New York City. Partly cloudy with a temperature of 57 degrees Fahrenheit. Wind is blowing from the south, 8 miles an hour. And the current humidity, 52%. All right, we can jump across here. And we will get out of the way of the police. There's all the construction going on there. Lots happening. Boat basin to our right. As you can see, marina's closed. There used to be a sign there saying that they were doing construction. I don't know what happened to the sign. Ooh, it feels nice out, folks. Nice gentle breeze. Got the sound of the docks, got the water. Start to hear the birds. Kiddos playing baseball to our left. Oh, it's all happening. Beautiful day. When I did Fifth Avenue, about halfway, no, not halfway, maybe a third of the way in. It's a pretty long video. About a third of the way through, we go through a 57th Street, and wouldn't you know it, there were all these TV networks anchored in front of a hotel. Let you guys figure that one out. But there was nothing going on, no protests, no nothing. And so they were letting tourists, hold the TV anchor microphone and take pictures. It was really funny. I'm sure a lot of folks got some really fun pictures that day. And all those guys were camped out for nothing. There's our sun. So it'll be setting over the next hour and a half or so. So we've talked about the Greenway before. The Hudson River Greenway is really fun to walk. You can start all the way at basically the tip top of Manhattan. And if you want to, you can walk it all the way to the bottom of Manhattan. And unlike the east side, there's really not a lot of detours. It's really basically a complete straight stretch of uninterrupted path. There's a couple places where you have to twist and turn a little bit, but nothing too crazy. Now, what is new at the moment is at the very south of Manhattan, they're doing all this resiliency work, meaning they're going to raise some of the parks and the waterfront to make the areas more resilient to severe flooding. So right now, like in the Battery, there's some fences and stuff. But more or less, you can walk basically the length of Manhattan in one stretch. It's really fun. Highly recommend it. You can also bike it, which Ambrose has done. To our left, you can see the West Side Highway elevated. Underneath, all sorts of parks. And we'll start to do these walks, they'll get more pleasant throughout spring, so we'll do this more. And depending on our timing, you'll see like yoga class. It's really funny. Looks like more baseball. And this pier that we're coming up to has a cafe. I think it's called Pier I, if I remember correctly. And I think the cafe is like Pier I Cafe. We'll see in a second. My wife and I have had, I think we did lunch there once. It's nothing like terribly special like the food, but the views are wonderful. Yeah, just about 5:30. Yep, so we have about an hour and a half till the sun fully sets. But you can start to see some, looks to me, some nice color starting to come in. Should be a good one today. Soccer to our left. And along the Hudson, many of you are probably familiar with the High Line, our elevated park, which is on some former rail infrastructure. They've kept some old rail stuff over here. It's really cool looking. Sierra's here. Good to see you. Again, good evening to one and all. Happy Wednesday. Hope everybody's week is going well. Chasing sunsets here tonight in New York City. Yeah, there we are. Pure Eye Cafe. So it looks closed right now, but I assume as things warm up, maybe April 4th, I'll have to look it up online. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but probably in the not too distant future it will be opening up again for folks. And I did see, I was looking at the High Line hours, because right now we're still on winter hours, so it closes at 7. But I think I saw, for that it was, I think it was April 1 that the schedule changes back to longer hours, and then it's open till 10 p.m. Ooh, and DeBailey with the 2-pound super sticker. Hey, thank you so much. We love hanging on out with you. Glad you appreciate what we're doing. Thanks for being with us, and thanks for the donation. Ooh, and there's our friends, the beautiful Canadian geese. These folks are getting some good pictures. The seabirds. Oh, it's just wonderful over here. I really love it over here. The noise. Oh, that's a nice sight. Check this out. Line of geese. I keep thinking that we've been doing this so long. We saw many of these as little babies a while ago. And now I can't really tell the difference between the youngest and the oldest. See the boats going by, and of course the helicopters up above. ITN. More geese. Honk honk. Honk honk honk. And it's after work now for a lot of folks. So you'll see lots of people exercising and walking their dogs, stretching their legs. Oh, let me tell you, it sure feels nice out tonight. Kind of just between seasons. Feels really good. I feel like before we know it, it's going to be so hot. So I am enjoying these moments. Justin Norell, good to see you. Welcome. Hello from Hudson River Greenway, coming up to the Department of Sanitation Pier. Just a moment. Ramon is here. Good to see everybody. Hello, friends. Thanks for joining with us on tonight's walk. I started myself on the Upper East Side. The video started at Central Park, but it looks like I've been at this about an hour already. 3.23 miles. 18-minute pace. Not going super fast tonight. Leisurely for us. There's the sun still coming down, Some beautiful rays coming through breaking through the clouds. Looks really nice. This is what we are here for.
I don't think they're going to blow
20. Lots of interesting sights over here. Again, a lot of this was old railroad infrastructure. My guess is they would take stuff off of ships and put it on the rail over here. They're doing some repair renovation work on this. There's an engine right there that normally is open to the public so kids can kind of climb around on it, check it out. Looks like they're repainting it and stuff. That'll be fun when it's done. Get to take the kiddo here one of these days. And you can see all these beautiful benches. So throughout the day, there'll be people sitting out here reading, doing work. Just enjoying the views. Justin Norell saying we're having a pretty good like percent. Hey, glad to hear it. If you want to leave a like, we certainly welcome it. If you enjoy hanging out with us, walking with us here in New York City. Ellen's here. Welcome. Ooh, beautiful sound of the water crashing. There's our geese.
You can't have a normal brain and you'll be wearing a mask.
Beautiful.
It's not my bag.
Oh wait, I got bags in my pocket.
We've made it to the Department of Sanitation Pier. It's a little too early, but they light it up really, actually quite nicely. Still too bright out, but you can see the lights starting to come on. Narelle says, our geese scare you. Oh, I'm sorry for that. My view is, if you don't bother them, they won't bother you. Sometimes we're in Central Park, I see people, trying to feed them. Quite a bad idea. So I certainly try not to do anything that would antagonize them. I don't know if you guys saw the guy standing outside the apartment. Up ahead, the tall buildings, that's Hudson Yards. Oh, thank you very much, Ellen. Very good. Coming up to one of my very favorite sites as we walk the waterfront. Beautiful bottle of vino. Anybody want a glass? Love that. It's called Private Passage. It's an artwork, if you want to look it up. Kyle Williams, good to see you again. Thanks for being on. More geese, honk, honk, honk. So they never really left. I think we've seen them, we saw them all winter long.
God. When is it coming? When is it coming? We get to the together like in real time.
Ooh, and then when we pop out, nice view of the Empire State Building coming up. See over here, they're just kind of hanging out, they're eating. I don't think they're bothering anybody as long as we're not bothering them. In front of us, so this is, I think the street we're looking at is 55th Street. So the big buildings up in the distance, those are the towers of Billionaires Row, which run along 57th Street. Which sounds right, because I think we were told, this is Pier 94, and I think we were told the formula to go from street to pier, pier minus 40 is street, so that's Pier 94 on our right, and that's West 54th Street on our left, so that makes sense. We're coming up to the Manhattan Cruise Terminal. So if you ever take a cruise coming in or out of Manhattan, this is where you would be deposited. No cars coming, so we will hop across. There's usually not a lot of car traffic over here unless there's activity at the cruise terminal, which I can't imagine is a big thing right this second. And once we pass the cruise terminal, we get to see the Intrepid. Over here, by the way, this is 12th Avenue. Depending on the where you are along the waterfront and the shape of Manhattan, it's not always 12th Avenue. Sometimes it's 11th and 10th, farther down when the island narrows. So we just passed 12th Avenue and 52nd Street. No boats. I don't see any boats. Well, yeah, once we start to get a little farther down into Chelsea and so forth, probably going to see a lot more folks running and exercising. Comes more residential a little farther down. Adriana's here. Ooh, those folks are living on the edge. In my experience, the bikers They get very upset if they have to ask you to get out of the way. A good Wednesday evening to all of our friends. So we've just entered the 40s. This is West 49th Street, which means the Intrepid is coming up very shortly. It's a wonderful museum. It's an old ship made totally out of metal, so not really the sort of thing we could stream. But one of these, it's been a long time since I've gone, so I'll have to go again one day and take some pictures. It's really fun, it's really cool. Lex, hello. A lot of folks getting their exercise in right now. Today is one of those days. It's so nice out right now. You can have no weather excuses. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's not raining. It's just perfect. Perfect. Oh, not a single cruise ship today. Once we get just past this little section, you'll really start to get a good view of the Intrepid. Ah, Narelle, just about to get a thunderstorm. I'm sorry to hear that. The only plane, I mean, I know there's a Concorde somewhere, but the only military plane that I think I can point out is this one at the end. That looks like the SR-71. I have a submarine. There's some helicopters, and they even have an Apollo kind of capsule on the side. Ooh, not super cheap. Let's see what it says. So adults, $36. New York City residents get 50% off. And U.S. military and veterans are free. Children 4 and under are free. Not super cheap though, I gotta say. $36. Oof. Oh, dog's saying hello. I think I will not walk. Let me just get to the other side and then I'll show you guys a nice profile shot of the Intrepid. And in the water here you can see some paddle boaters. What do you call that? Where they're standing on them? Sabrina Fair, good to see you. Kyle says, walking commuter, caught a video of you as Bane at Comic-Con last year. Oh, that's cool. We love Gabe. Walking commuter, we were on his stream this morning. Lex asks, what's our name and why was our last video silent? Ooh, good questions. I'm Sean. And when we do recorded videos, I tend not to talk in those because those are meant just for you guys to have kind of a city experience. You just immerse yourself in the city. So the live streams, we have a little talking and back and forth. And the recorded videos are for folks who like the city ambiance. Bear in the Gardens here. cool on with the time check, 5:55 p.m. So an hour and 15 till sunset. So this is the Intrepid, and let me show you guys the little the kind of space program capsule. Right there in the middle. It's a really cool ship. A little pricey for the museum, it looked like, but it is really fun. So if you can swing it, it is a lot of fun to visit. All right, let's head onwards. We're heading south. Oh, Brenda is asking about Fleet Week. Yeah, Memorial. And it's really fun. I have some video from the Greenway last year, but I'm sure if our schedule works, we'll go live for some of it. But if you're anywhere basically on the west side or anywhere basically around 42nd Street, you'll see tons of sailors all dressed up in their finest uniforms. And they do exercises and all sorts of stuff all along the Hudson and the what's the word I'm looking for? Down in the harbor. So lots of ships coming in, lots of helicopters flying above head, different airplanes flying above head. It's quite a show. Quite a show. This is where you'd pick up a lot of the touristy boats, like the Circle Line, and those super fast ones called like the Beast or something, big green boat. But just up ahead is a ferry terminal where you can pick up one of the routes of the New York City ferry where the tickets are just $4. That one takes you to the Battery. We've done it on a live stream before. And if you take it all the way, it takes you to Staten Island. And it gets not as close as the Circle Line does to the Statue of Liberty, but it gets closer to the Statue of Liberty than the Staten Island ferry does, because it's just in between. So, you know, you can take whichever you want, but I'm a big fan of the New York City ferry, and it's so affordable. And there's also some restaurants over here. It's really fun over here. Good views, lots to do. Eat lobster on a boat, the sign says. North River Lobster Company. Bighorn was in the Navy, didn't get a chance to do Fleet Week in New York City. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been to a few other places where folks come in. San Diego. And where was another one? I'm trying to remember, it was somewhere in Texas. Javits Center on our left, that's the convention center. Kyle was mentioning the Comic-Con, that's where it was held. I've never been to New York Comic-Con. One day. This is the ferry port I was mentioning, so if you're interested in the New York City ferry, the Hudson River route is right over here. I think it's called the Midtown ferry stop. And again, it's $4. you can take it either to Battery Park City, which we've done a couple times, and I even thought about maybe doing it tonight, but we're early enough, we should keep walking instead. But if you time it right, as the sun's really going down, like if we stayed here for like half an hour and the lights of the city start to come on as the sun goes down, ooh, it's beautiful. You can check some of our replays if you want to see that. We've done that before. All for $4. So, I don't know, half an hour ago I was pointing out these tall buildings and said that's Hudson Yards. So here we are. Coming up to 34th Street in a moment. Not too long. Which brings us to Hudson Yards. And looking at my timer, it looks like it's just about 6 p.m. in New York. So there's still an hour before the High Line closes. But I think we're going to stick on the waterfront today. It's so nice out over here. Not too windy. I'm really hoping we'll get a nice sunset. Cool Aunt says I was at Fleet Week in New York City and hugged a lot of sailors. Oh, you love it. That's awesome. This is Pier 76 that we're coming up to in a second, which I think is like a state park.
You say I'm from Germany.
In fact, I do see some folks running in there. I've not gone in yet. One of these days. Looks like it's good for runners. Let's pop in for a second just to see what it looks like. I think I can pop out over there, yeah. Yeah, let's take a look and see what this looks like. I've never actually been over here. Hudson River Park, open for public use by New York State 2021, Pier 76. And let's see what this big propeller's from. Oh yeah, it looks really nice. The blue and yellow is the New York State colors. So I'm quite sure Andrew Cuomo had a big part in this because that was his big thing. Loved stamping the state colors on everything he touched. So it looks like this comes from the SS United States. Oh, and look at this view of, gosh, look at that, Empire State Building. That's cool. That's awesome. It looks like this is particularly good for runners. Like, go around the pier. Cool. Interesting. Haven't been in yet. RJ's checking in from Colorado. Hope all is well. Are things in Colorado starting to become spring-like? Let us know. There's a classic car club over here. So when we walk by here, you often see some pretty crazy looking cars. Just peeking in. Nothing too crazy today. Nothing too crazy today. Oh, did I speak too soon? There you go. Nice Pontiac. Convertible. It's pretty cool. Give you guys a sun update. That's where we are now. Beautiful coming out. I'm feeling really good about this sunset. RJ says it just started to hail. Wow. Show you guys Hudson Yards. You can see the vessel in the middle. I don't know who was on with us when we, well, I bet this helicopter, there's a heliport just up ahead, so this helicopter's probably coming in to land. What was that winter storm called? Elliott? We got stuck in that for a minute on live stream. Crazy intense. So be safe out there, RJ. Be safe. Yep, looks like that's landing just up ahead. But I'd have to get on the other, I'd have to get farther in to see it land because there's some fencing up ahead that'll make it hard to see it land. So in the meantime, let's take a look at the vessel while we're here. Lex asks, has anybody on YouTube walked the whole perimeter of Manhattan in one go? So our friend Gabe, the walking commuter, has done it. If you look up on YouTube, The Great Saunter, that's what it's called, to walk the perimeter of Manhattan in one walk. He live streamed it. It was like, I don't know, 11 hours or something ridiculous. I've walked the perimeter, but not in one go. I've done it over the course of 2 days. But it's on my list to do a real great saunter at some point whenever I can get the time. Of course, for physical reasons, I'd really like to do it in winter. I would not really like to do it if it's 100 degrees outside. There's also a walk called the Great Bridges Walk, which is 32 miles, and it takes you on a tour of every bridge in and out of Manhattan. Would like to do that one day. The never-ending to-do list. So this is the helicopter port I was mentioning. It's called Blade. You can still hear the helicopter winding down its engine. Or is it in fact speeding up? Maybe it's about to lift off again. And away it goes. Yeah, Daryl, I actually spoke to Gabe about that once. I don't think he necessarily wants to do the saunter again, just because he's done it and it's a severe undertaking physically. And I still can't believe he did it as a live stream. That's like truly mad in the best way. But he might be up for like the Great Bridges Walk. So we'll see, we'll see. Would love to make something like that happen one day. Ooh, the spring flowers are coming in over here on the Greenway. Ooh, look at that sun coming down. Beautiful. Just beautiful out here. There's a really nice garden to my left. And again, once we really get into spring and things start to warm up again, it's going to totally transform, become incredibly colorful. Looking forward to that. So that should be happening in the coming weeks. So we're getting a little before picture of it. And then in the coming weeks, I'm hoping we'll see lots of flowers. Over on our right, more of the entertainment options over here if you wanted to have a bite to eat or a drink on the water. What's the one called over here? The frying pan, I think. There's also some sailboat activities over here, which I've done before. It's pretty fun. Flowers. You can start to see some of them coming in. Those are pretty. Yeah, there's the sign, Hudson River Community Sailing. And there's also New York Kayak Polo. Wow. Impressed with anybody who does that. And there's the frying pan. So that must indeed be the frying pan. Oh, there are menus all covered up though. I wonder, are they just closed for the season, or I wonder what the story is with that. Does anybody know if the frying pan's still open? Never a good sign when your menu's covered in garbage bags. '20s. Up ahead is going to be Chelsea Piers. Lots of activities for kids and adults. And there's a, I think there, is it Bluestone Lane? Among other things, there's some places to eat. I'm going to hang a left because I don't want to detour around the pier. More geese, honk. And this is where you start to see the island change shape a little bit. So 12th Avenue is going to be coming to an end. And they'll switch over to 11th. The drivers, I mean. A little hard to see, but down that street you can see a little stretch of the High Line. So if we were on the High Line right now, we could look over here and see us. So, piece of advice, if you heard the bike bell just there, the people crossing the path actually had the right of way, and there's signs that say that, but that's not how it really works in practice. So just be careful if you're over here as you're crossing the path. What are these birds? They look a little different. Smaller. Ooh, and lots of flowers over here. Bluestone Lane, yeah. They make good coffee. And they have, you can get like breakfast, brunch stuff. We've sat out on some of these benches. It's really nice. I think we will cut through. If we have any buffer in the building, just bear with me. We'll be through it pretty quick. Kyle asking, have we been on the lawn over there? Of course. They do, sometimes there's music, sometimes there's movies, like during the summer. But just kind of sitting around over here is really nice. It's quiet, you have the water. It doesn't exactly feel like you're in the city. And then there's more, these are cruise ships that people can take, like tour cruises. Some of these are like dinner boats, things of that nature. This is the Spirit of New York. Great name. Great name. I guess a ship is announcing its departure. I don't know if you guys heard that. And then somebody asked me where I'm from. Texas, as my wife said in the chat. But I've been in New York, I guess, 19 years now. So we think of ourselves as New Yorkers now. Over on our left, you can see there's classic pictures, vintage of the waterfront. It's pretty cool over here. So there's three ways we can go now. We can go left, straight, or right. I think I'm just going to go left, rather than go through the garage again. Up next, we have a couple of public parks. Probably the most famous is Little Island, but just before Little Island, Google has some office space over here. And on the rooftop, they built a beautiful, beautiful public park. And it's free. It's public, so it's free. Anybody can go. And at the moment, it's not super, super well known. So every time I've gone, you almost have the park to yourself. It's kind of crazy. And just up ahead in a moment, we're going to start to have some really spectacular lower Manhattan views, including One World Trade Center. Just a few moments. I'm originally from Houston, but have been all over Texas. One of my best memories was driving across Texas. Texas is so big a state, it takes 12 hours to drive across it. And part of what's funny is when you're in West Texas, there's no speed limit.
Hopefully tomorrow.
So even when you're going a very healthy pace, still takes 12 hours to drive across Texas. So it takes even longer if you aren't taking advantage of the no speed limit. Francesco, ciao, thank you for the sub. Hey, glad it's helping you out. All right, so this is the rooftop park I was mentioning. It's really, really, really nice. There's a couple ways to enter. Basically along the side, there'll be signs pointing to the entrance. You take an elevator up or there's stairs. It's really, really beautiful up there. Once in a while though, the security guards have some confusion about cameras and stuff, so. I'm gonna skip this one today. Really beautiful. Yeah, no speed. So we're about to see a bunch of sights all at once. On our left, Chelsea Market. Up ahead on our left, the Whitney Museum. And then in a moment on our right, we're about to see Little Island. So get ready for that. It's pretty spectacular. For those keeping track at home, the garage we just passed, by the way, the monthly rate for cars, so the base rate, $760 a month. Here's Little Island. Shout out Barry Diller, Diane von Fostenberg, who paid for this. I think it's incredible. It was super, super controversial when it was originally conceived. Because as with everything, we are cranky New Yorkers at heart. And the idea of a rich person's park, even if it's intended to be public, kind of scared everybody. But it's incredible. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I know not everybody loves the design. And it's really beautiful inside. All right, I think we need to take a water break. It's actually, I dressed a little too warm. So we're gonna sit here for a minute. Be a little rustling, so apologies for that, but I just needed some water. Bear with me a second. All right, sustenance, relief, delicious water. So I'm right underneath, by the way. This metal structure is what used to welcome the White Star Line's ships here in New York City, and it was where the Titanic was meant to dock. There's some signs over here, and there's some sort of plaques which talk about the history of it, but that metal structure is landmarked as a reminder of where the Titanic would have landed here in New York City had it not sunk. And hopefully you guys can start to see in the distance One World Trade Center down beneath the clouds. I think up ahead, once we get past this section of construction, we'll start to have some pretty good views. Just bear with me another moment or two. To our left, it's the Whitney Museum. Highly recommend that. And once it's springtime and the hours at the High Line extend, what I would do is go to the, do whatever you want to do during the day, and then in the afternoon, go to the Whitney, enjoy the art, and there's some terraces on the Whitney, so you get some really nice views, so you can rest your legs a little bit. And then once you've had some good experiences with the, hey, Simon Davies here, we haven't seen you in a bit, good to see you, welcome. Once you've had a good experience with the art, head downstairs, and you can hop onto the High Line right there. It's basically the southern entry point of the High Line. Do the High Line, and then there's some incredible restaurants. Really fun. You can make a whole day of it, or at least an afternoon and an evening. I think our favorite restaurants down here, like pretty close to the High Line, There's a couple, they're owned by the same people, Malatesta and Malaparte. Really, really, really good. Let's stop and listen to the water for a second. And this structure, by the way, is a piece of art. It's not like a construction site or unfinished business. Let me show you guys. David Hammond's Days End 2014 to 21, stainless steel and precast concrete. Days End. It's really funny if you're in the Whitney and you go to some of the windows facing over this direction, they have the little art plaques for this. So it is a piece of Whitney art. Ambrose in the chat, he knows that one. Tyler's here. Happy Wednesday, good to see you. We're chasing the sunset over here today. You can see under the clouds some really nice color in the distance. The sun is still, there's still a little ways to go, so I'm still hopeful that that color is going to kind of amplify. Okay, and as we get down here, and again, I was telling you guys earlier, once we got to like Chelsea, the area becomes way more residential around here. So you start to see stuff like this playground. There's some public restrooms over here on our left, and then in a little bit of distance, there's even a bar. So there's lots of activities here on the waterfront. It's really, really, really fun. Kyle asking, aren't we supposed to put up another pier? So I think we, good question about down here. I know, I'm trying to remember where, forget if it's in like the 50s or the 60s, there's a new park, a new pier park that's going to open up. We passed it, but there was so much construction going on that it wasn't, the view of it wasn't that great. Further down, I'm not so sure. Not so sure. Ambrose says they're supposed to develop a pier next to Little Island. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Maybe that was near that Whitney art. I know there was some construction over there. Maybe that's what that is. Lex is mentioning Broadway. I just saw that there's going to be a Broadway musical for the movie Back to the Future. I don't know why that cracks me up so much. Just the thought of that as a musical. Gosh, I'm sure that's going to rake in the dough. Super, super easy to sell nostalgia. Let me, I'm gonna go into this turnout right over here because I want to show you guys the Statue of Liberty from where we are. Starting to come into view. I'll have to zoom in.
Before they could say like we're gonna ban this app. I think so.
Oh, that's right, Phantom's coming to the end. Coming to the end. All right, let me, give me a second, let me zoom in. That's 2x. And that's 6. There she is. Beautiful Statue of Liberty. And then while we're still zoomed in, let me turn the camera all the way to the right, my right, so that's New Jersey. And let me show you guys current status of the sunset. All right, let's go back to standard. Oh, I love the sound over here. It's so peaceful. And as promised, lots more people. This area is probably the busiest part. I'm sure I've said before, if I won the lottery, I'd love to live down here, like in the West Village, the far West Village. It would be so fun having access to this as your kind of daily park. Android Princess here. Good to see you. Let me know in the chat if you've ever been to the Statue of Liberty, and if you have, how far up did you go? More geese. The geese are really hanging out today. Must be lots to eat.
How are you, Hudson Valley?
Ambrose went in January all the way to the Crown. Kyle's been. Yeah, my wife and I did go, but it's now been some number of years since we did. I'll have to check one day, see how long ago we went. I'm guessing it was at least 5 years ago. So I've been in New York 19 years. I'm almost positive it was over 10 before we went, I think. Because it was one of those things where it's like, oh, you know, I'll get to it, and then you never get it. And then it was, as some of you know, it was closed for security reasons for a long time. And if you do go, the security there is mega intense. It's like multiple layers of airport style security. Ambrose says stairway is crazy tight, semi-panicked going back down. Yeah, it is not. It's super small. So if you're tall, or if you don't really like tight spaces, yeah, I could totally see that. Could totally see, and if you don't like heights, it's like a big, it's a big ordeal to do it. This, between the, you know, you got to get the tickets, you got to get out there, all the security, and then physically doing it is pretty, you know, it's a lot to do. But I'm glad we did it. It is like one of those, you know, you got to experience it. It's so important.
Yeah, I don't remember such thing.
Love it down here. This is Christopher Street to our left. So if you want to go to some of those restaurants I mentioned, Malatesta or Malparte, hang a left right there. Take it, I don't know, just a couple blocks, and you're there. There's the colors.
Yeah, just finished it, but
Oh, Kyle mentioning the Banksy exhibit. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. And if my wife Lisa is still in the chat, she was planning to see something at the Met. Maybe she can remind us, remind me what it is she wanted to go see. And then at the Historical Society, I think it's still there. I really got to try to get to it. There's an exhibit on delis, like New York delicatessen. I really want to see that before it goes. I mean, my favorite museum is the Met because there's always something. There's always something interesting there. Woo! And 2 very generous donations from Simon Davey, who we haven't seen in a little bit, but we're glad you're here. Thanks for coming back to us. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. 2 pounds and 10 pounds, so 12 pounds aplenty. Appreciate that, appreciate you. Thanks for being with us. And a big thank you to all of our newer viewers. Every time we do like a really big event, most recently the St. Patrick's Day Parade, we get introduced to a lot of new folks. So big welcome to everybody joining us. This is more of what we normally do. Love to just wander and explore and walk New York City. And our thing is kind of longer walks. We do a little bit of a mix, so we do increasing number of live streams, but we also post recorded videos, so if you just want to see and experience and listen to New York City. This morning I posted a video from where I walked from Washington Square Park to Tompkins Square Park, and whenever it finishes processing, I have a big video, 2-hour video from 5th Avenue coming soon, where I walked from the Guggenheim to Washington Square Park. So stay tuned for that. Kyle worked at Lincoln Center for almost 30 years. I love Lincoln Center. Fun fact about Lincoln Center, it's a dead cell phone spot. So literally every time we walk by there on a live stream, we lose our signal, which is a shame because it's such an iconic plaza. It's beautiful there. And I did see, by the way, my wife in the chat said we visited the Statue of Liberty 2016. My gosh. It has been we are overdue for that. The poetry event I was mentioning before is held at Lincoln Center. So at minimum we go there once a year for that, and sometimes more to go to other things. Let's see what the parking situation is here. Monthly rates. If you're willing to park on the roof, it starts at $375. Hysterical. I was walking by a parking garage recently. I wasn't on the stream, so it was just on a random walk, and it was over $1,000 a month. Just blows my mind when you can just ride the subway. I will never understand it. Brenda wants to visit Ellis Island to see where my grandparents came in from Kiev, from Ukraine, from what is now Ukraine. Wow. Brenda, that's awesome. Yeah. We've visited Ellis Island, and they do have some computers where you can do some research, and I forget all the details, I'm sure you can find it online, but I think you're able to like hire somebody who will help you do, you know, genealogical research and like pull up, like you can see the actual, you know, you can see your relatives' names, which, you know, that's amazing. Let me get a little further down. I'm going to point the camera on the pier we just passed because there's a really cool piece of art.
Oh, my little babes.
Let's see, are we far enough? Let's try. Simon asking, am I into poetry? Well, my wife is the poet. My wife is the poet. Isn't that cool? I want to thank you. Oh yeah, the skies, I'm really enjoying the sky. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. Yesterday, I forget when it was. I don't think it was yesterday. It was maybe a few days ago. The sky turned red. It was really beautiful. So let me show you some sights while we're over here. So to our left, there's the Jenga building. Underneath has the New York City bean. So if anybody's familiar with the Chicago bean, we now have a version of our own. It's by the same artist. It's much smaller, ours, and you can't go underneath it like you can in Chicago. But it's a very immediately popular site, and it sits underneath the Jenga building. Obviously, straight ahead, you have One World Trade Center. And again, Statue of Liberty in the distance. In a bit, we'll find another good spot where we can zoom in on the statue as we get closer and closer. To our left, Canal Street. And a funny little quirk of the geography over here is there's a little triangle, both sides are Canal Street. Little quirk of New York City geography. I think that's called like the Canal Park or something. All right, let's do a little pause for a second. Oh, there's our sun. Look at that. Perfect. Perfectly lined through the buildings over there. Ooh. We are moving today. Let's check the watch while we're paused. So I've been on the stream for an hour and 51 minutes. I've been walking though for 2 hours and 11. Still doing an 18-minute pace. We have 7 miles, 0.09. So I think we do 2,000 steps a mile, so 14,000 steps. Let me zoom in on the Statue of Liberty. There she is. We're getting closer and closer, so you can really start to see the foundation now, the base. Ooh, and it looks like the park over there is still open. So let's head in that direction while the sun is still... Let's see how far we can get while the sun is still setting. I kind of want to get to that corner I was just zoomed in on. So that's called Rockefeller Park. I'm hoping we can get to Rockefeller Park while we still have the sunset. I'm just going to keep the camera pointed over here to my right, because what a view. How beautiful is that? But I want to see if we can get, I don't know if we're going to get to Rockefeller, but we might get to the pier up ahead.
I think she was actually making 40K. So she like literally.
Ooh, that's pretty good. That's a good screenshot right there. Gorgeous. Ooh, and everybody's, you can see everybody's got, I love when there's these shared experiences. Where all at once everybody has the exact same idea. Ooh, he had a DJI Pocket. There's rumors the DJI Pocket 3 should be coming out at some point. You know what? I'm quitting. I'm gonna stop here. I found a place where I can put this up as on the little tripod legs. I think we're just gonna watch the sunset from here. Ooh, you got the New York City ferry coming in. ABX heading out, off to work out. Hey, thanks for being with us. Have a great workout. Narelle enjoying? Yeah, this is pretty special. This is a pretty good view. It's my pleasure, Simon. Thanks for being with us again. Thank you again for the very generous contributions. Oh, I love when the boats go by. Merc, enjoying the sunset. Hey, thanks for being with us. This is so cool. It's kind of like a little mini, so this would not be a Manhattan henge. This would be a, like a Jersey City henge. It doesn't quite have the same ring, does it? But it's amazing. The sun is coming straight through the buildings. All right, bear with the sound for a second. I'm gonna get my water bottle out.
Literally, he's showing me.
All right, we're back. Sorry about that. And now you have to listen to me drink. Unfortunately, at the moment, just water. Just water. Ooh, this spot worked out perfectly, didn't it? Gorgeous. I was saying Manhattan henge, so a couple times a year. And we were just talking about this, but I've completely blanked on the dates. But is it summer? It must be summer, because I think of it as a very warm thing. The sun aligns perfectly to the Manhattan grid. And then there's a few streets in particular where the views of the sunset are like totally outstanding, and hundreds of photographers come out to capture the sunset. 14th Street, like really the big wide avenues, so or cross streets rather. So 14th Street, 34th Street, 42nd, 72nd. We have a little video of it from last year, and it was the stupidest thing where, like, it really, those are the big streets where it's best to look at it, and they just need to block, they just need to close the street for like 2 hours. I mean, I realize saying that it's probably like incredibly expensive for the city to do that, but the video is, there's like I was saying, there's hundreds of photographers just filling the streets, and the drivers are just losing their minds. But it's really beautiful. And you can capture it from Manhattan, but if you go to Long Island City, you can also get some really cool shots. Sorry for the sound of me drinking. Oh, ending it on my watch. Oop, I waited too long. Ruined my pace. Just beautiful. I had no idea we would catch the sun going through these buildings like this. That just was pure luck. Pure luck. I'll probably post this, a clip of just this sunset part with some music. Those videos do terribly, but I really like them, and hopefully Brenda, my pleasure, my pleasure. Thanks as always for being with us. Hope you enjoyed the sunset walk today. Have a wonderful evening. Norel enjoying the stunning view, very jealous. Well, compared to some storms, it's pretty nice. I have to say so. We've been, I don't know what it is, but like the last month we've had just some absolutely outstanding sunsets. I guess it makes up a little bit for not having any beautiful snow. ATC, good to see you. Lex, Deborah. I'm really loving it when the boats slowly go by. So again, I'll probably make like, I don't know, a 10 or 15 minute video just of this, set to some music. If anybody needs a little relaxing video. Oh, and maybe I'll put it, I'll have to, maybe I'll put it on my, we have a second channel now called Sounds by Sean, which is where we're gonna put kind of relaxing videos. So the backstory there is we have a little kiddo at home, and my wife and I have to use like white noise to fall asleep. So I've been posting different types of relaxing videos. So actually maybe I'll put this on there. So I'll just take a video just of the sunset part, probably put some calm, pleasant music, and maybe we'll put it on, maybe it'll go on the Sounds by Sean channel. It's funny because when I put them on Bagels and Walks, like if it's not a walking video, they do so poorly. YouTube likes to say that they treat every video is like an individual video, like it's sort of treated in isolation. I totally don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. Deborah says, I think everybody in New York City needs white noise to fall asleep. Oh, and a nice comment to Bailey says, she's been using the channel, enjoying the white and brown noises for sleep. Hey, thanks for that. And let me know if you guys have any requests, because I'm certainly open to trying out other videos. Like my wife is really into these videos of like, it's like a still image of a cafe and there's like jazz music and stuff. So we'll at some point I'll figure out, we'll do some stuff like that. Jennifer Herring, it's amazing. Hey, thanks for being with us, Jennifer. $7:01. So official sunset is 7:10. So about 9 more minutes. But some really intense color already, beautiful. The sun fully, I don't want to move the camera right now, but when the sun fully sets, there's a little, I don't even know what to call this. There's like a little structure in the water right here, like for what used to be a pier, but it's just kind of a random little structure, and there's all these birds just hanging out on it, just making their little bird sounds. It's so relaxing. You can see some of them flying into the water right in front, but there's like 40 birds just out of frame to the right. Ooh, starting to get that like afterglow, a real sharp red. Beautiful. Just gorgeous. You could see a few of the birds flying off right there. So pretty. Oh, we're gonna have 2 boats going in opposite directions in a moment. Are they gonna show up together? Ooh, and that must be Must be planes coming into Newark. I don't know if you guys can see that from time to time. Some of the planes going by, they must be going to Newark Airport. Mika G, thank you for the kind comments. Oh, I'm just loving the colors. We've had some days, like I'm pretty zoomed in just where the sun is, and the colors, that's where the colors are most intense. We've had some days where the entire sky really transforms. It's not quite like that tonight, but really beautiful. Really beautiful. I think tomorrow there's supposed to be rain, but if anybody's in New York, in my experience, like if it's gonna rain during the day and then around sunset not rain, we tend to get really beautiful skies. So I haven't looked closely at the forecast for tomorrow yet to find out, but that's been my rule of thumb and it's worked out pretty well these days. Oh, Narelle mentioning the sky this morning, and Gabe was going through, I have kind of...
Birds take a second to watch.
It's beautiful. The woman was saying, even the birds take a second to watch the sunset. She's so right. Narelle was mentioning the sky with Gabe. So Gabe is Walking Commuter. If you've never watched his channel, you have to check out Gabe. He's a terrific YouTuber. But sometimes I forget which morning's which. I forget, was it this morning he was in Central Park? So he started to, there's starting to be signs of spring in Central Park. It's not like fully spring yet, but you're starting to see patches of flowers and patches of the cherry blossoms starting to come in. Deborah says, supposed to not rain in the late afternoon or evening. Okay, so tomorrow might be a good day if you're in if you're in the New York area around this time to face west and see if you can get some good shots. It tends to work out pretty well in those sorts of days. All right, my friends, we're coming to the end, coming to official sunset here at 7:10 p.m. I wish I had more time, but unfortunately I have a commitment. Gotta make my way back. So I gotta start saying our goodbyes. First, let me show you guys just to the right here what I was talking about. All the birds hanging out with me.
And this was up in my lake house. This was
And then let me zoom out so you can see kind of. So that we were on 2x. This is 1x, so this is normal. So this has been my view the whole time. Just beautiful. So let's see who we got here. Deborah, Diana, G, Justin Orell, Brenda, my beautiful wife Lisa, Mika back home, Jennifer, DeBailey Merck, Bill, Lex, ATC, Cool Aunt, Simon Davey, and tons and tons and tons of other people who've been with us along the way. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Enjoyed the walk with you guys. Mentioned earlier, posted this morning a no talking walk from Washington Square Park to Tompkins Square Park, so a little bit of the East Village, if you want to check that out. In a day or two, I'll post a big no talking video, 5th Avenue. And then I'm sure this weekend, if not before then, I'm sure we'll do some more live streams. So signing off from Hudson River. It's been really fun. Loved hanging out with you guys, and I'll see you again sometime real soon. And again, I'll try to post a version of this video, this section of the video with some music to the Sounds by Sean YouTube channel. So I hope you'll check that out. Take care, everybody. Have a great night wherever you are, and I'll see you again sometime real soon. Thanks. Bye.